So I will quickly show you that here's the topic area, and we do have we have 7th grade cohort and high school to college data here. This is where that information that I was showing you, like where students are going, and there's a little more data there. Let me just open that up. And then I'm not going to talk about the 7th grade cohort because we now have a new 8th grade cohort, and I think this will just have to think a little. And we have a whole session about that today, and that's really interesting data that we're excited to share with you. Okay, there it goes. We just have to learn some patience with this. Okay. So we have information about student readiness here. We have some dual credit information that we'll update, sort of showing. This is kind of interesting because it shows the overall percentage of high school graduates, and then it shows the percentage of graduates who are doing dual credit enrollment. And so basically, to get a sense, you can see South Texas has more dual credit than you would expect to see based on their high school graduates. And this again is Fall 2011. This has changed. We're really seeing some changes in dual credit. In the Metroplex area, we weren't seeing much dual credit. I think probably a lot of different reasons for that. There's a lot of AP in that area. But suddenly we're starting to see more folks in the Metroplex area with dual credit. So you can kind of go through here and see, so here you see 17% of the graduates had participated in dual credit, but 26% of the graduates in the state were from the Metroplex area. Gulf Coast, 17% dual credit, 24%. Central Texas, it's a little closer. So there's really, this is kind of useful. Not too much dual credit in the upper Rio Grande Valley, though we've seen that change. But South Texas, San Antonio, and the Rio Grande Valley, both of those areas have always been places where there's been a lot of dual credit. South Texas College has more dual credit students than any other institution in the state.
They do a great job of that.
They do, don't they? Yep. They've had from early on. They've had more career and technical dual credit than a lot of places. I think more places are starting that, and we're going to see more of that with HB5. And as I said before, I want to talk about what data might be useful, and maybe something like this that shows career and technical would be helpful for those of you who work with that. But we also have. We have places who've been doing it a long time in terms of not wanting to do those articulated agreements. And we have some of those set up that work really well, too, in terms of the articulated credit.
Be able to look at the difference between workforce courses and academic courses.
Okay.
Would be really helpful.
Okay. And that's what I've been hearing, so you all agree to be able to look at the workforce dual credit, the academic dual credit, maybe track those students to where they're going. Look at some outcome, because we do now have a report called the CBMOOS, and that we got the funding to be able to collect this data from the longitudinal data, the federal longitudinal data effort, and so we are now collecting grades and classes for every student enrolled for credit in Texas higher education. Now, I know TEA for a couple of years collected grades. I don't think they're doing it anymore. But we are going to continue to do that, so we can specifically look and see not only what students were doing for dual credit, whether it was career or technical, whether it was taken on a college or high school campus, which is new information we're now collecting, but then we can also look and see how did that student perform when they got to college. I'm going to show you some data of the study I did a couple of years ago that looks at that a little bit before we had the S, but now we are anticipating, once we get a couple more years of data under our belt so we can really track forward, we're anticipating, being able to put out more reports. But right now, we could show technical and academic credit just straight enrollments. Is that something that would be useful? That's something we could probably get out in the next month or so.